Cue that sweet background music. Yeah, I think we're doing pretty good. My Sirenscape, we don't need that one. Turn that down. What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 10 of Running Wild. We're supposed to probably be the final Running Wild, but I think we maybe will have one more follow-up after the next session, if I had to guess, just because we've got a whole lot of, I think, wind down RP left in us from what happened at the end of episode 10. But before we get into that, let's go around and introduce ourselves. I am the host of Running Wild, because I drew the short straw, I think. And my name is Jared, and I play Quinn, the Elfish Ranger. Taylor, why don't you take it away?
Hi, I'm Taylor. I play the Eladrin Fey Sorcerer Esmeralda, who is about to be a very big plot device in the next few chapters. But now she's just been the one that gets beat up all the time.
Speaking of moss, Eric. Speaking of grappling swamp moss.
I am the guardian of the moss.
You're the moss keeper. You're the moss keeper.
I hold the line. I hold the line. Yeah, I got really confident. Like I got way overconfident about the moss. It's like I got it. I'll let it go this one round. I don't have to worry about it. And then I missed, and I was like, oh shit, that's it.
Well, that's in the cards. That would never be across.
That was like full hubris there. Like I totally was like, I got this under control. Yeah, what's up? I'm Eric. I play a kobold artificer named Bisbo. The Hammer of Justice.
The Hammer of Justice. Yeah, sure.
That's right.
And last but certainly not least, the nine-fingered semi-hacker
reminding me.
The Trini of the Nine Fingers, right? Isn't that what it's called Frodo? At the
yeah,
end
it's the full name.
Yeah.
This finger, right? This one? So close.
What did I say?
It was your ring.
It was almost like pointer fingers. Ring.
It was almost...
It was almost your most critical finger known to man.
We were like, why?
All right.
Don't do it.
Yeah, that was a problem. Hi, I am Trini. I play Tisbe, the Hexblood cleric, not a full hag. ... Yes, yet.
I'm pretty sure I've been pronouncing your name wrong this entire time. I've been saying Litrini, but it's Litrini. And you've yet to correct me?
I don't correct because it was a name that I came up with written and then kind of made up how I said it. So everyone says something different. I don't actually really care.
Okay. All right.
It's Litrini.
It's like
yeah.
Litrini.
Yeah.
The ends are silent actually. So.
Oh, okay.
Oh gosh, that was nice.
I had to look at it. My goodness. Well, we are gathered here today to discuss a eventful, stressful, action-packed episode. And so, if there's anyone just catching up, I don't have Twitch up, so I'm assuming there's nothing in chat. But we've this entire arc has been building towards this hag. It's been plaguing this small river town, caught in the middle of this magical Fey. Well, I guess Fey adjacent forest, right? The Arbanest forest.
Yeah, it's right on the border there.
Yeah, and we had banded up with an old adventuring party to try and help us figure out, because they fought this hag the first time, and now it's our turn. We think, but really don't know what's going on. We get to the hag's place. Latrina gets sucked in the ground, or Tisme gets sucked in the ground. We're fighting for our lives out there. One guy gets his head ripped off. Two people get their heads ripped off?
Stomach ripped out. Stomach.
Yeah.
And intestines eaten.
God.
It was brutal.
And this is the senior adventuring party. Which
This is not even when we start the episode. Yeah,
this is just the catch up still. Yeah. So Tisme is getting pulled under the ground. We're dispatching the last. By we, I mean Bisbo's turret is dispatching the last of the Fey creatures out there. We break into the cavern and we're trying to hustle our way down through what appears to be like this tomb, right? Like this.
Yeah, it was an old tomb for a. I forgot the name of the god, but it was the protector of magic.
Of magic, right? Yeah.
Sure, like versus the Tisme's goddess, which is like the goddess of magic. This was like the protector of magic.
Interesting.
From a different time. From a different time, apparently.
Yeah. And so the hag is apparently taking up abode here, and we've got to work our way there. So I guess we should just go. Maybe I'm reframing the episode in my mind as we go down. So Tismay, you're up first, and you are now one-on-one with the hag. Do you suspect that your magic is coming from this hag? Do you not know? What's kind of Tismay feeling when she first lands, gets pulled under the ground, and then poof, there she is?
Oh, Tismay has absolutely no idea what's going on. It's like a little bit of everything, I guess. It's like terror, because you're in this creepy underground cavern. There's like cauldrons bubbling, and you're in a crypt, and the few people that you like are kind of friends with are above. Some people are maybe dead from the little messages that were being sent.
Oh yeah.
So there was some of that, but also excitement for her, for getting closer to this, some sort of answers as to what's going on and what her purpose is.
Yeah.
What was her thoughts going in? Like, what was was it like 50-50, like I'm accepting this power, I'm not? Or was it, did you have any idea what Tismay's kind of like predilection, like she was going to lean towards, or were there like multiple scenarios in your head beforehand where you're like, this would play out this way, this would play out this way?
There are multiple scenarios. I think she was leaning, the big thing that pushed in the direction of doing it was just the realization, which, as we'll find out, turned out to not exactly be accurate, that she was kind of promised by her goddess. That was the thing. Before that, she was a little bit iffy about it, but when figuring out that she was promised by the goddess made her feel like, it's her duty to do it. The goddess is a very important person to her. So even if she didn't want to, on a personal sense, it was still something that she was leaning towards going through with, because she was promised, and that was kind of a thing. So I was, as a player, I was like, oh, this seems like a terrible idea. But that's what Tismay's like big draw was. So she wanted more information to figure out, like, is this truly what I'm supposed to do? Because if it is, even though it's probably not a great idea, not great for the forest or for my home or for the village, if my deity is calling for this, then that's what I gotta do.
Because she was just so dedicated to the goddess that. So if she hadn't discovered that it was all bullshit, it would have been the other way, no matter what, pretty much.
More or less, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think we were on a razor's edge there for a lot more, a lot longer than Quinn was comfortable for, and I think the entire group was comfortable for. But we'll get there.
Or me.
Yeah, we'll get there. What was I gonna ask? And magic too, right? Like, if you would have found out, like, you'd have, like, Tismay would have lost her magic, like that's essentially would have been a deal breaker for her, right? Because I feel like that's like been what's kind of saved her from being a baker's daughter, in the backwaters of some random town. Does that seem accurate, or?
Yeah, that would have been a big contradiction, considering that, like, Sarastra is part of the reason that she got even deeper into this knowledge of magic and the whole Twilight and all of that interesting stuff. So that would have been strange. That probably would have given her some pause to feel like, oh, my goddess is now telling me to give up my magic. Information that she got from the book that came with that natural 20 a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
That supposedly, the making of this coven was supposed to give Sarastra more power. She would have considered giving up her power in that case if that was something that.
Interesting.
Again, she would have considered it, but it would have been weird. There would have been more questions.
Yeah, I guess you were so good at being deceptive. I don't think Bisbo or any of us realized how dedicated you really were to because you always played it off like, oh, it's interesting, but I can definitely now that like I had with what's it called looking back on it now, like you definitely see how like it was always like you were so dedicated, but at the time it was like it just seemed like you were more like you always played it off like you were just curious
and confused.
Yeah, but when you look back at it now, it definitely makes sense that it was like you just being completely dedicated to the goddess.
Oh, that means the stakes are even more not in our favor.
Yeah.
I think part of or at least from my perspective, she has always been kind of like everything with her deity has always been something that was pushed against in the village. It wasn't something that was ever talked about. She worshipped the goddess for a whole time in secret, so it was never something that she was particularly forthcoming about. And when all the stuff with that come out, obviously, like even as a player, I'm like, oh, hags, bad. We should not go along with that. And the other characters were very upfront about that, and I think a little bit made her pull away, like, ooh, maybe I shouldn't discuss more of this because everyone's saying it's bad, even though this is important to me and all I know. So there's a little bit of trepidation in that. So that's why she was being a little bit cagey of like, maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't, because she didn't want to say like, hey, I want to do this thing you guys are saying is terrible.
Yeah. Or if my goddess wants me to do it, I'll do it. No questions asked. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was.
Yeah, there's a lot of back and forth with you and Amorta, and you don't do it yet, but she clearly needs you to sacrifice some sort of limb or something to brew this potion.
Yeah.
And I think we leave the first scene. I could be completely wrong. I think we leave the first scene with the knife at your finger, or if not, cutting your finger.
I think so. And I started to cut it, just the skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had messaged him, and you had messaged Quinn.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right before that was happening. I mean, before that, you saw the baby. So that's what I want to know about. Like, you saw this baby. So what went through Tisme's head, and what went through your head when you saw this baby? Because that's like
leathery skin.
If anything's going to show you like this is the reality of what you're dealing with, it's a leathery skinned kidnapped baby, right? So what was that going? What did that do?
This is a very big tension between the player and character, because Tisme's not the smartest, and it was the devotion to the goddess was above all. So even though you see this creepy baby, and there was definitely a lot of oh, this should be a big giant red flag, neon sign saying maybe don't do this. The fact that she was promised as a child and has turned out okay and is doing this thing, she's maybe the baby will be there was some justification having to go through her head, even though obviously it was ridiculous. As a player, I was this is terrible, I don't want to do this at all, I just want to kill her now. But that's not the mistake I made when I chose an X-Mode. I was oh yeah, I didn't think about that part. So I was yeah, I guess she'll keep going through it. I was a little bit looking for a reason for her to back out. But even
that's what I think when you messaged Quinn, that was definitely you trying to get well, what is Quinn gonna say, right? Because do you remember what you guys said to each other at that time?
I mean, the first message is I'm here, the baby here.
Yeah.
Hurry up or something like that.
Sure. We're in the lair or something like that. It was very I'm alive. And I think Quinn's response much later on was just stall, we're on our way. Because we were making good time, I think. So so on the flip side of all of this, as this is going on, Quinn, Esmeralda, and Bisbo are racing through some unknown crypts.
Well, first we were at the top level, and there was a puzzle.
Yes.
And I totally overthought it. I was get some leverage. And it was oh, there's 3 things, and I'm okay, we're gonna have to decipher this whole intricate puzzle. And then I just crit the investigation check or whatever, and it was oh, you just turn it and get through. I was oh, that was way easier. I just got a really good roll.
Puzzles, I think, are hard to DM.
Yes, Jared. There's a whole episode of it in my podcast, Tabletop Tango, that you can watch.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. We actually talk about puzzles. And social role playing, and that between character and player, we discussed that. We have a whole episode about that, so check that out.
We'll link it in the chat. So the moderators will link it. Maybe I don't know how to link it.
Yeah, whatever. It's fine.
We'll link it in the YouTube maybe. I did one as a DM, and it's hard because especially if you're relying on visual elements that you haven't made or haven't. And I do think the tendency is, especially for gamers, is to overthink a lot of puzzles because we've seen them all, right? We played our Tomb Raiders, we've played our, you know what I mean? So it's you're ready to have to spin 3 things and align them in the right order to tell the right story in the right language. And the reality is, I think you just had to spin the app.
I spin one, but I got a 24 on my investigation check.
Something really high.
Thank God.
Yeah. So sorry. I just want that was what we just skipped up. So
absolutely, please. Yeah. I should probably rewatch the episodes before I do these, but I do not. Esmeralda, what are we thinking here? I mean, we're in full sprints down into this cavern. How's Esmeralda doing after the battle outside and Latreni being gone?
She's definitely shaken. The fact that Latreni was just kind of that. Tisme was taken down, and she knows she's probably with Amorta. Esmeralda is low-key freaking out because while she has always been Tisme, this is your choice, she's always worried that, in her mind, there has been a bunch of things done that Tisme didn't understand, which is why she was so against it, because she knows that certain Fae can definitely be very, very slick with how they do their deals. So her only thought was getting down to Tismay and making sure she's safe. So that's not even why when we were down and we heard the flute, she's like, nope, we keep going, ignore him, like we can deal with him later. Because James threw that at us as we were on the stairs, and that was hard. I was like, oh man, that'd be great to face him off, but at the same time,
Yeah, I feel like that was a red herring for us. That was like a...
I think he told us later on it was.
Do we tantalize you with this flute music, or do you take the bait?
Because we would recognize it as the first Fae that got away.
Yes.
Yeah.
So all of us are sitting there like... I remember I was sitting there and I'm like, man, I'd really love to smash this guy, but we don't have the resources or the time. But
the
maybe
whole thing was sketchy. It was like, and you had to fit through like a 2-foot hole crawl space, and you had to go in one by one. Like, that's like... The whole thing reeked of some sort of death trap, you know?
Yeah, that just said, hi, I'm a DM's trap. Right this way.
Yeah. And so then we get fooled by another simple trap that I still not 100% sure I understood. With the locking mechanism, there was something that locked below that shut the door in like a small like, pool of water. And we had to find what triggered the lock, but we weren't sure where it was. And we were able, thankfully, to like pry the door open. Yeah. I don't know if he wanted us to go back up to the room with the fluty guy. Because I think you asked, didn't you, Eric, if the flute did the locking magically or something like that?
I think I thought maybe that the mechanism was somewhere else.
Yeah.
But yeah, we managed just to... I had a crowbar. And I had Pythons. Yeah, I had all this crap on me, so I was definitely ready. I don't know how to pronounce that. Python, whatever.
Yeah. Surprising no one, you had a crowbar, and we were able to at least force that door open and slam behind us. Actually, we may still have to deal with that door going back out. We haven't crossed that bridge yet.
It's fine. We got time. We got it. We're fine.
Sure. Until the cauldrons start like bubbling up with some sort of corrosive acid that's like... Now we have to escape like, you know, Ori and the Blind Forest style.
That's you just gotta go get a glass vial full of corrosive acid and throw it on the door. Problem solved.
All my acid's gone. I used all my acid.
But you have glass vials, so...
It's true. I'm sure I can make something in there. Yeah. But we got through the door. And that was... The door. Then we finally entered, I think, with
the main hall.
Yeah,
but there was also... Again, it was weird. There was like a bunch of... It almost seemed like it was like a dorm of like doors on left and right, if I remember the map kind of correctly.
And roots.
And so I just thought for sure they're all about to bust out of these like holding cells or doors or whatever they are, and it was going to be like, all right, it's just about to be a big battle royale down there in that room. Turns out the greatest threat of all was the one we were already stepping on, and that was this large mass of moss.
Cave-like moss.
Just smashing. I actually almost got one shot by that thing.
Yeah, that hit you so hard.
It hit me for like 25 HP.
I was really scared after I saw that.
And thankfully, honestly, Tismay cutting her finger off saved me, I think, because she called the moss off for a moment.
She made the bargain. She made sure she made the bargain to save us.
And then we were able to get into the room.
Yeah.
With the creepy moss still behind us, but, you know, at least not a threat at the moment.
So that was also interesting, Tismay, because it was like you were making this hard bargain to save us. But in the back of my mind, I was like, well, the hag is saying save us, not like she didn't say anything about letting us go,
spare us, or
changing us, or making us your minions.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was funny that, like, I guess in Tismay's mind, like, what was going through her head there? Like, when she just didn't really think about it, or what was going on?
I think it was just panic.
Yeah.
I think, like, it wasn't, like, I didn't seem like a moment where she was going to stop and be like, let me deeply consider the lessons Esmeralda taught me about talking with Faye and figure out the proper way to form this. I think she's just like, just let them go and I'll do whatever. Yeah. Just typical, like, bargaining, not thinking about who she was talking to.
And it's only because we were, like, right there that it was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Another interesting DM point. How much time do you give people to make these decisions? You know what I mean? Like, there's a weird... I think James does a pretty good job of putting pressure on us, because if you give us enough time, we'll metagame and talk our way around any situation. But to keep stress and to keep tension, you know, you have to kind of like apply that time pressure. And And so I was kind of watching James, and you know, like as you were just debating on a finger, like whether to cut or not, or you're cutting slowly, you know, I was wondering if like he was gonna like now or never, kind of like this is the moment, like, and then.
Yeah.
I'm glad I wasn't in that situation. I was just dying to Moss in the back, but you know.
I was trying. I couldn't think of what to do to stall in character, because I like as a character I wanted to have her try to stall, but then also as a player I'm just like, she just cuts her finger slowly. Does that work? No.
Using the blunt, the other side, the blunt side, like
so slow, so slow.
We were all cringing there for a moment. I think all four of us, when she's just like, I'm just slowly cutting my finger, we were like, oh god.
Part of the problem also was I thought that the potion was the end game.
Yes.
And so that also informed like how, because I was like, I hopefully Tismay and me as a player wants them to get here before she just like downs the potion and finishes it all. Now knowing more in retrospect that maybe she wouldn't have tortured herself with cutting the fingers so slowly.
Yeah, that's the magic of it, though, right? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go on. Well, I was going to say, if you did drink that potion, you would have had that big power bump, but then you would have had that permanent minus to your con, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been
So-
interesting though.
You remember the buff to the potion
Yeah, my strength and con would have went to 20
for a week.
A week.
And something else, right? Like you couldn't. I thought there was
I
something
forgot.
else too. You had an
I don't
advantage
remember.
on something.
I swear we pay attention, James, when you talk to us.
We do. But this was something that was like mentioned like offhanded after.
It was at the end of the game.
Yeah.
I guess.
And we had gone over, like, it was a long session, so.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was.
I
yeah,
think
it was-
all of us thought that was the end game too. Like,
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Like, we were all getting pretty desperate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's credit to James, right? Like in the sense of, you know, he's created this real tension here, and like the stakes were high, like in that moment.
Oh, they were.
Yes.
Not having any information about what is the end game, what's the final straw, like how much time do you have, you know, how much time do we, you know, it was insanely tense.
I think
Yeah.
like it definitely triggered Bizbo, and you guys have been seeing more that he's been almost more confident just by being frustrated with everybody.
Sure.
But this like triggered his like back, like his own shit basically. So I think he was pretty desperate. And then I think what was like the one, I think it was like either was I said something or did Quinn say, like one of us said something that was the turning point.
It was the ring.
You.
It was Bizbo. It was Bizbo and the bracelet.
The bracelet, yeah, not the ring, the friendship bracelet.
Yeah,
Was
it
it
was
the
the bracelet, and that you
Oh.
mentioned that maybe Sarastra wasn't behind this.
Yes,
Maybe, yeah.
that's what it was. Yeah, because that,
And
and I
was
didn't even
real
realize that
turning
what
point.
was going on in your head.
Mhm.
Because that was the thing that was going on in your head, right? Like you would have, it was
Yeah.
all about serving her. So once I brought that up, then you were like,
That was the part where she actually gonna stop. Everything else felt like, what about the village? Like, yeah, she feels bad, but also, if her deity's calling her, there must be some greater, you know, bad things happen. It's whatever. She had justification for everything except what if her deity's not a part of that? And that was the part where I was like, she would stop and think about that.
Yeah. And also that your family, it was made implied that your family would have been safe because they made that deal with Omar.
Yeah.
So.
Dirty.
so that was the
Yeah,
security
James
there.
is a persuasive hack. You know,
Yes.
he just
Yeah,
says
I
just
was looking
enough.
for a way out.
Yeah,
He wasn't giving it to you. He really wasn't.
No.
Oh,
and he was making fair promises that, you know, I think were
Yeah.
reasonable, just reasonable enough to really. He probably was like, drink the potion, drink the potion, drink the potion, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, he was laying out a pretty fair but
That
still
worm.
slightly horrifying argument, I think.
There was a fat worm on that hook for sure.
Oh,
A
yeah.
fat juicy worm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I did like how the bracelet. Like I just had that idea offhand, but then I think he mentioned it before that the bracelets would kind of do stuff with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
But then
Yeah.
that was the first time we really saw where Bisbo was like, "What the hell is happening?"
Well, it seemed like time kind of froze for a moment,
Yeah,
and he allowed you to cast augury, right? Which is
that
right
was
the
awesome.
the
Yeah.
ability to like commune, and so time freezes in that moment. This is how I see it in my head. So, you know,
That's how I kind of
please
figured it too.
Just dispute me if you think, you know, anything different. But time kind of freezes, and there's this moment where you speak out to your deity, and then you see your deity, you know, shown through the spinning light through the bracelet, right, where it dances, shadows dance all around, or at least on the wall. So what are you thinking there? What happens, Tisme? What are we seeing there?
I mean, one, just like on a general note, that whole moment was super cool.
Yes.
Of like
Yeah.
like everything with the bracelet and the description of like the shadows and all of the darkness with Omerta, and then like even though Sarastra is the deity of like night and magic, even there it has this like twilight. There's still a little bit of light in there, and so the play between the two of those was super cool. I think Tisme was having, it's a mix between like relief of like feeling there was almost like this like almost like a penance she had to pay, like she has to go and do this thing, it's for her deity, and then having her deity like finally show up and feeling that energy and being like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be like, I don't have to do this now, I actually know the right thing to do, and having everything fall into place was almost like a relief and a little bit of guilt for like, oh, I brought everyone this far.
Yeah, that was cool. James had a really good, the way he described her magic was like really, it was really sweet almost. Like it was this dark and mystery, but there was also light and warmth, right? I think he brought that up. So that was really cool. I could see it on your face too, that it was like, oh, both in character and out of character, that you were like, oh, this is awesome. This is what I want it to be.
Yeah. So that was super cool. And like, yeah, a relief both in character and out of character, because I was like, yes, this is the thing. I can go kill her now.
This is my out.
Yes, this is my out.
And that you're like better than her. Like I almost feel like it was like, like, no, bitch, I'm better than you. Like you ain't shit. Like I'm gonna have a higher magic than you. You're just like, that was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, really kind of revealed that you were a stepping stone for Omerta almost. And you weren't sure if you had to be or not, and it's like, well, you don't have to be, and so. If
anything, Omerta was a stepping stone for you now. I feel like.
Yeah.
We'll see what.
The real big bad is the baby.
It's true.
It's true. It is true.
So we got to deal with that thing, in 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
Oh, let's talk about the baby. Oh, we have to get in the fight. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, we had to. So it's basically once you have this moment, Tisme, it's kind of like. I feel like you give the sign, and it's just like, it's go time, right? The guns come out.
She winked at me. She winked. She silver winked at me.
Silver, yeah.
And you got your hand knee deep in something, some sort of the nuclear option.
Yeah, I had my nuclear option. I told you guys after. I guess I should tell everybody, but like, yeah. So my idea then was because I was like, if Tisme goes with the hack, I'm like, we're totally screwed. Like, there's no way we're getting out of this. So the only thing I could think of to have any type of a power up was the book, Tremana's book. I can't remember the name; it's way too long. The Origin of Shadow, Fey Magic, and the whatever chords. I can't remember the name.
In French, en français, pour favor.
Yeah, it's too long.
En français, s'il vous plaît.
S'il vous plaît. Yeah, I went 2 different languages there.
I was like,
okay.
I'm just so brilliant, guys, that there's just so many languages going around up here. I actually studied French for like 9 years, so.
I know.
I
no hablo mucho español.
Yeah, that was not the right one.
So yeah, my idea was that before, when I opened it, we summoned all those Shadow Fade from the River King's court. And then I was able to figure out how not to activate it. So I was like, oh shit, then I should be able to understand. If I know how to not activate it, then I should know how to activate it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, my idea was, if she goes that way, or if like our fight is like way too dire, then I'm definitely pulling this out and opening it. Just hoping, because if I remember correctly, Omerta used to be part of the River King's court, but they had a falling out, right? I don't think they're quite aligned. So just hoping that like whoever showed up hated them more than us, basically, because we screwed up.
It's a fair assumption based on what Esmeralda has said openly about the Shadow Fae versus Seelie and Unseelie. That is an actual fair assumption, a fair assumption to make.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my nuclear option. Yeah. So I was ready.
Which the best part is before the game started, I think Eric, you were telling James that you had a nuclear option, and James was like, "Don't tell me. I'd rather know."
Before the game?
Did I make that up?
Yeah, I never know.
I thought there was something. I'm gonna throw something at you from the left field. I think is the way you're putting it when we first started. I thought it was that. It might have been something else.
No, I think that was about a spell or something. That wasn't. Yeah, because I only thought of that. I thought of that like while we were down there.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Esmeralda, did you have a nuclear option? Quinn had literally no nuclear option. The whole thing just kind of unraveled him. So, especially when Bispo keeps asking Quinn for, what, Quinn, are you gonna let this happen? Like, are you gonna do anything? I'm like, What are you gonna say, Trinity?
I was gonna say I didn't have actually an intention of fighting you guys. I know it was like an ongoing joke of like when Tisme inevitably turns on us and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't think she'll be, or I wasn't sure what would happen when and if she turned, because theoretically, I don't know how familiar people are with the Hexblood, but like once you turn full hag, you are now an NPC. So I wasn't sure if like that would happen in that moment, and now James just tells me like you hate them and you go after them now. But I was thinking that even if I went full hag, at worst she would be trying to get you guys out of there, but she wouldn't be trying to like fight to kill you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was hoping I'd have that option, but I didn't actually know it would happen.
I mean, even if it was you not attacking us, if it was just like you not in the fight, because we were like, I mean, I had no resource. I had one turret. I think you basically had half your resources, right, Taylor? Like you had like some sorcerer points.
So I had 2 sorcerer points. I had only used up 1 first level spell slot and 1 second level. So yeah.
And Quinn, you were down to like pretty much just your normal. You didn't have any. You had like 1 spell slot left, right?
I think I had 2.
Yeah, no, he used both spell slots in the fight against the Mortem.
Yeah, I had 2 spell slots. I think. When did I get healed? Because I got absolutely just train wrecked. Okay. That was a second level heal, maybe. Was that the second level spell? Or
that was my second level. Sorry, I have 3 level 2s. I used Path Without Trace the first time.
Yeah.
And then it was to heal you, and then we'll get to the second level spell. That was my favorite moment of the day.
Oh, karma. How she cometh around.
I had all but 1.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, you were like pretty much full, and you had your
channeled
all your cleric stuff too. So yeah, so if you weren't in the fight, and like after seeing that, I think it was after the Moss just beat the shit out of Quinn instantly, that I was like, oh, if this is just the Moss that's doing this much damage, like that's the Moss. If the Moss is that bad, the hag has to be pretty bad. And I knew that the Boglin was around too, because he had to be around. So
I forgot all about that son of a bitch.
I knew.
And I'm so mad his name is Edward, because Edward is like one of my favorite names. That proved it for me.
I don't even want to ask if it's Twilight related.
No, it's not actually.
Okay, good.
It's Batman related.
Wait, which one? What?
Batman related.
Ah, okay. Nice. That's much better. Okay, I feel relieved.
The penguin's first name, right?
I feel relieved. No, it's not the penguin's.
No? Anyway. So the fight is on. The daggers are thrown. Bispo grabs the shotgun instead of the book. Esmeralda's. What was your first move? Chaos Bolt, Fire Bolts?
Bolts against because again, if you remember, she started caging herself with the root, so Esmeralda started chiseling away at that. To try to get you guys, because when you're like, oh, she has full cover, or 3/4 cover, I'm like, oh wait, a lot of them can't. They'll be at disadvantage. So her thing was carving away the branches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a real pain for Quinn, because he did not want to get close to that. She
came to you anyway.
She came to me anyway, yeah. So so the first couple rounds of combat, I mean, I think we were doing okay, right? When did the Boglin come? Did it come right away?
No, he came later.
He came in like the 4th or 5th round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He came after the Moss reappeared.
Yeah. I think it was clever and horrifying that James used the Moss to let us go, but then actually slowly creep up the steps like every couple turns. Like,
okay, we had to bring this up again.
The turret.
We talked about it before. But yeah, my turret. That was so hilarious because it only had 5-foot movement speed, so it was so funny that I just kept knocking it back.
I don't think he planned for that either.
He did not.
No.
But then we were saying before that like I just had pure hubris. Like it was pure. I was like, because I think it was like round 5 or 6 where I was like, I got this. The Moss is never gonna get to us, so I didn't fire on it when it got close, and then I missed, and then it was like, oh shit, it's right on us, and it totally wrecked. It like killed you, right?
Yeah, it did not be. That was actually like round 15 or 16.
That was close to the end, yeah. But
okay.
You had it.
Well, to be fair, Esmeralda put herself in that position.
Yeah.
With the Moss.
I saw James's face after I finished my turn, and I went, wait, fuck, because my light didn't show me the moss, so I completely forgot about it. And then there it was, and I was like, "Oh no!"
We're gonna get to that, little Jim. We're gonna get to little Jim. So Omerta, I mean, James flashes us the stat sheet, and it is fully loaded.
So many.
It is. She might have had more abilities than Quinn does in terms of like just pure like layer actions, legendary actions. I mean, we're getting it all. Fucking poison! I swear to God, I almost took lesser restoration.
I know, me too. I was so upset I didn't take lesser restoration.
Just because Quinn is tired of being poisoned. But thank God.
I blew my inspiration on that curse, which was dumb. Yeah. I should not have used it there, but
yeah, that was painful because that was when we rolled outside the map, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
I rolled and got a 19. I swear to God, swear. I rolled and got a 19, but it didn't go in, so I rolled twice using my inspiration. But I think I thought maybe that curse was going to be, it was like ability that she could use over and over again, and it was bad, but I felt like, because it was the first ability and she kind of hated me right away because I think I hit her immediately. I thought it was going to be like really, really bad. Like I thought it was going to be like a permanent thing, or semi-permanent. So that's why I used it there, but it was just a...
Turns out you only need 2 points of damage to remove that curse,
yeah, we kept breaking her concentration.
That was so funny.
Before that, we're not going to gloss over it's a free action to grab a baby. One of my favorites D&D quotes ever. So Esmeralda, what's the play there? I mean, I think it was super clever. Don't get me wrong.
Essentially, what ended up happening was she trapped. I believe it was it was Tisme and the turret in the water, in this spout of water. And Esmeralda panics, picks up this baby, walks over to a cauldron, and tries to threaten Omerta by threatening to drop the baby into the cauldron. Like, she never intended to do so. Like, that was absolutely like, she even whispers to the baby to forgive her for what the lie she's about to tell with this baby, which that ended up not working. But like, she was thinking, okay, if Tisme was so important, maybe this baby is, and that backfired.
And your deception roll was higher than my perception DC, so Bisbo was like horrified by you. He absolutely believed you were about to drop that baby in the
into the cauldron.
So he was just like betrayed and horrified by you.
No, it was her attempt to be like actually Fey, and she just I was outrolled by Omerta, and I was like, oh no. I think it was like,
go ahead.
Yeah, I rolled it into 14 intimidation, which isn't bad, but coming from like this delicate Fey princess, that's not exactly threatening.
And Eric, if I recall correctly, you also tried to get flanking for baby. Is that correct? Baby
that was in the one shot. I asked him, yeah, if the baby could provide flanking, which he could not, but it is a free action to pick up a baby and a free action to drop a baby. And
I remember the holding it over. James says, it's a free action to drop the baby. And I just went, James, no.
So, as a predecessor to this entire discussion, we do have a pre-game discussion about what's acceptable and what's not acceptable with children and danger and things like that. And so we made it very clear what everyone was comfortable with, and I reviewed it with James before we even had that session to go back through the we stuff and make sure that we weren't crossing any clear lines. So we laugh about it, but we did have that discussion and made clear if there was any sort of this is too much, peel it back. Obviously we were all in jest at that point, but yeah, I mean, that was to me one of my favorite quotes of the night was it's a free action to drop a baby, and I to this day.
I would like that on a shirt.
Yeah.
With no context, just so
no context.
Yeah, just you can drop the baby.
Rolling into work on Casual Friday with it's a free action to drop a baby in a blazer and not explain it to anyone.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
We were already going into this funny because from the one shot we already had the joke about the baby giving flanking, so it was already a meme for us. But James did also make it very clear that no matter what happened, there was nothing happening. Baby was gonna be fine. Baby was not gonna get injured in any way.
Except perhaps by Esmeralda, but maybe he had magical protection. Maybe he had magical protection around the baby just in case. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that was Esmeralda's thinking, and there was a moment where I'm like, okay, this is really gonna push Esmeralda's comfort, but Tisme's drowning, and we gotta get her out. but thankfully, you weren't in there long. But she still roughed us up pretty bad.
Yeah, the
that
water was
almost
cool.
killed the turret.
It did.
It wasn't for the blessing. It hit 1
It was
HP left.
Tismay's
It was
channel
one HP,
divinity.
yeah.
Man, Twilight
Which is
Sanctuary.
great. Which is great because I don't think, Latrani, that you remembered that you could give the turret blessing. I think we had a moment where we had to.
No, I keep forgetting those kind of creatures. I keep thinking
Yeah.
that they don't count, and so I now have a sticky note next to my computer.
Amazing.
Really?
Whenever I do Twilight Sanctuary. Yeah, because my computer screen's not that big, and it's hard to see with the combat tracker. So I'll keep track of whose HP is where, and I have a list when it goes down to make sure I get them all.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you have like the turret and Godwin on there now? Because...
Yeah, especially the turret and Godwin aren't always like where their turn shows up on the turn tracker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I get confused as to when they go. So yeah.
Rest in peace, Godwin.
Oh yeah,
Godwin. Oh yeah, Godwin. I'm so sad.
That's alright.
But you can rebuild him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll
So Godwin never really dies, but we will all help.
Well, I only have I think I only have 2 more familiar reagents left. So hopefully I can restock at the town.
You have to have a reagent? Is that part of your deal with the
It's just he's a familiar, so it's with familiars you have to spend 10
gold
per reagent, quote unquote, whatever it is.
I see.
We're flavoring it as metal and whatever bits.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I had bought, because he's only gone down once before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
In the tavern.
In the end, yeah, because you built it.
Yeah, in the end.
When you built the friendship bracelets, you made Godwin at the same time, I think, overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had 3 starting out, so now I'm down to 2. But I'm just, because going into the Feywild, I feel like I'm not gonna have a lot of opportunities to gather nuts and bolts and bits of iron. So I should probably try to look forward to stocking up.
Yeah.
In town.
Maybe some downtime in the future.
Yeah.
Hopefully, maybe, if we're not arrested. Before we get to that, I think any other critical moments. So I will say that there was a moment where Quinn was able to return the favor and get Esmeralda out of danger that I wasn't so.
Oh, yeah.
Jared the player had been hoping to have a good moment to do something like that. But it's always, I didn't know when the moment would be, and then I see him where it's kind of charging something up, and I think the Boglin was harassing you in the corner. And so so Quinn has his moment where he's able to kind of re-channel something he had just learned about and teleport you across the room. I think
In the same way.
But,
yeah, it was right before the torrential twister, and my reaction was fucking priceless because I went back and watched it, and I was freaking out. I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah, your face was.
Yeah, a little bit of rose petals.
Yeah.
I think James enjoyed that little emotional roller coaster I went through in that minute where I processed what I just saw.
Yeah, I think he gave me some flexibility. I said, well, which season should I use? I was leaning towards spring because that was the only one that he had known, because that's the one you used on him to get him out of the ground. James I don't fucking care, just make it cool. And I was like, okay. He's like, whatever you do, just make it work, make it be impactful. And so I thought that was a lot of fun to do.
Yeah. I think she's used it on Quinn twice now.
Really?
Yeah. No, you used it on me or on the turret.
Someone in the
I used it
tavern
on the
first,
turret,
right?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I used it on the turret, and then I used it on you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
that's all he knows is that face step of roses in for the spring. So it's cool. That was fun.
Yeah.
Anything else in combat that was really kind of, I mean, it was a fun combat, I thought.
It was a lot of fun.
We're not going to overlook your
No.
spell. So anything else before we end on the amazing power word Neil?
I love the spell.
I don't think so.
I mean, you did have a great moment when you killed Edward in the mud.
Oh yeah.
That was fun.
That was cool.
I was like, please don't miss. It was
Is that with inflict wounds?
No, that was when we both went under the ground. He pulled us back into the muck again.
Yeah.
And it was in melee.
Oh,
so
you killed him.
So I was at disadvantage, I think, to even attack him.
But then you had advantage.
Then I had advantage from something canceled out, and then I was like, well, no, better no time than ever to try and throw this knife through icky mud and hit him. So yeah, that was cool. Fuck him. Remind me, I'm taking both these heads back to the army, right? I think we need to kind of prove that there's been some sort of Fey nonsense that we dispatched. Hopefully, that's my plan when we get back. But so we're wrapping it up. We've killed the Boglin. Amorta's on death's door.
Mm-hmm.
And Esmeralda thinks, now is the time to. What was actually? You tell me. You're Esmeralda. You tell me what was the thought. What was your plan there?
Esmeralda is exhausted. She is covered in mud. She's had a terrible few days. Woo!
She just slapped the camera.
Apologies. We're moving a bunch of things around in this apartment, so like my apartment's a mess. And at this time, she's just like, you know what? I'm tired of this hag telling me what to do. I'm tired of this thing being such a hindrance. And she just decides, I'm gonna flex the only thing I know how to do, which is her own ability, and using power word Neil, she was able to make Omerta prone in front of Tisme, which was like the only thing that Esmeralda wanted was that Tisme would be the one kind of above Omerta for getting. And when I moved, so in Fantasy Grounds there is that lighting. The lighting didn't show me the moss, so I forgot it was there when I moved, and then I realized, oh shit, it's got a 10-foot reach. Like once you put it forward, I was like, oh no.
And with classic,
and I think
James,
it was immune to prone, right?
Yeah,
it's immune because it's just a moss.
Yeah.
I say classic James a little snicker. He goes, the moss can't kneel, so.
Like the moss is prone, so all 55 hit points went to Omerta, which I was like, all right, great.
Yeah.
Go down. And then everyone else was out of range, thank God. I was like, oh, if I put this on the moss, it doesn't hit anyone. And I was like, oh no, it's going to hit Quinn because you'd moved. And I was like, I don't want. Okay, this might hit Quinn. And then I did it again. I was like, oh, it won't this time. So thankfully, you were not in the radius. But right after she had this cool moment where she's got this tag kneeling to her, she just immediately gets yeeted by the moss and knocked flat on her ass. It was very funny. I found humor in it. I'm like, you know what? No, don't let her get high on her high horse like that. Like, knock her down. It's fine.
Yeah, I think it was the universe kind of answering back there a little bit. It was really nice. It was really
the universe went, not yet. You're not on the Feywild. Sit
like
down.
I mentioned we were in our little side chat. Quinn's got thoughts about that whole scene playing out in front of him. As he climbs out of the mud, the triumphant that he killed the Boglin, and then he just sees you come back. He probably sees you cast it again. He's like thinking to himself, here I go again, down on one knee. I think probably already prone anyway. But yeah. And then, despite that, we're able to handle the moss, no big deal. But then Tisme's final blow, right?
It was so perfect.
Yeah. Was the moss gone? Before...
Moss died, yeah.
Moss died before.
Okay. Yeah, I think Eric shot it.
I shot it and killed it with the turret. Then it was up. Yeah. Then it was you. Then it was your turn for.
Yes. Typical dilemma of do I heal? Because I was worried. I was like, what if something else while Esmeralda's down? Because I knew everyone else was out of spell slots.
Yeah. She's got a history of getting hit on the ground and almost dying by James. James doesn't like her, so
And especially with Omerta,
your plot armor. Don't. Here, I'm your plot device. Do you want to deal with the Fey courts alone? Don't kill me.
I could see Omerta being vindictive and being like, "Oh, you wanted to save them, and you went against me. Let me just instantly kill her now."
That's true.
And I was also poisoned, so that's a disadvantage anyway.
Oh, that's right.
But the kneeling can't.
I've been poisoned almost the whole game.
True, yeah.
You have had, if not as bad, probably worse than Quinn has had it with the poisoning specifically too. Yeah. So yeah, she was kneeling, so they were canceled out, right? And
I guess just took the chance with the good old inflict wounds. It's a fun spell.
Second level too. That was
level,
nasty.
Yeah.
And it's kind of poetic on her, in a weird way. You've got, I picture, and again, I think it's kind of funny because part of the reason I'm terrible at notes and remembering things is because I'm off in my own dreamland watching this whole thing unfold in front of me, you know? And so I picture kind of the 9 fingers come up and like grab them where to like for the inflict wounds, right? And just zap the rest of the life out of her, right? With like bloody stub of a finger, you know?
And what did you say then? I think I was like, say something cool.
I am actually thinking when I got to that, I was like, if it comes to my turn, do I say something cool? And I'm like, well, Tisme wouldn't be able to think of something cool.
Yeah.
But I couldn't
did.
think of anything cool either. So
No,
I was-
you had some pretty great words for Morta before you did that.
Before it, yeah.
Yeah.
I do not recall.
I thought you were gonna go. I went, say something cool. I thought you were gonna go something cool. And then,
No, you said something about Sarastra.
I said something about like the what did I?
Sarastra sends her regards.
yeah, that was awesome.
Oh my god.
It was like pure irony
So
at her. Yeah.
Oh.
You flipped it. Like it was like she was looking for you to be a stepping stone, but then you were just like, nah, like this is you're below me, right? Like I'm the true follower of Sarastra, and so then just that's why it was so awesome. Yeah.
It actually landed. We killed her. Thank goodness.
Well,
I was
allegedly.
stressed. I mean, yeah,
She's done. She's dead. She melted actually after the inflict wounds. I'm pretty sure Jean's made it like she turned into mush. So
I think she's dead. I just don't know if this is the last of hag-related stuff that we're going.
No, I don't think this is the last of the Shadow Fae.
Given your hex blood, my guess is no, because doesn't your eye get a little milkier and your horn get a little bigger?
Yeah.
If I recall correctly.
That is the thing.
Yeah.
So
Quinn doesn't like that.
who knows? I don't have to deal with it anytime soon though, because that's on the back burner for now.
You better hope.
I hope so.
We just need to get you a big witch's hat and an eye patch, and you're golden.
The plan is to go full witch, yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Well, combat ends. It was like a long session, so we pretty much end the session right there. You know, real quickly. We don't even talk much afterwards because I think it's like 2 o'clock by.
Yeah, it was
2 a.m. for me.
It was 1 o'clock by me. I was a little tipsy and a little tired, so it was hard to tell which one was more predominant at the time. But we hit level 5, with the next long rest. So,
oh wow, I totally forgot.
Yeah. Well, here's your reminder.
Well, you're saying cleric, right?
Yeah.
But we do have. I think
finally. Yeah, monk. I'm taking level 1 monk. I already said that.
Oh god, no! I quit.
Team
I
of
rage quit the
monks.
game.
I had in the back of my head. I was like, if I do go an NPC and have to come up with a new character, should I be a complete jerk and make it a monk?
Yes, you should.
No, you're not. It's monks are. It can be very fun. There's some classes that are better than others. It was more that anybody multi-classing for a monk is just it was just I was like, no, it's complete garbage. What was this? Oh yeah, but all of us now have our next level slots. Like finally, me and Quinn get second level slots, but still that's a big deal, and we get like more slots finally. You guys get third level slots. That's a big level for you guys.
That's
hello, counter spell.
Yeah, there's more choices for this one for Esmeralda, but
this makes me nervous as a cleric. That's once you get Revivify, which means that you could be brought back, but also means I need diamonds. So
you need diamonds. But you also get Spirit Guardians.
Yeah, I love Spirit Guardians.
That's the 10-foot centered on you wave of like if anything passes, it takes
slow.
like 2d6.
Anything passes through, yeah.
Yeah, there's some good spells for sure. And then Sorcerer gets some really good spells too, and you have access to Druid spells, so it must be really hard for you because there's so many good.
It is because I struggle with
right?
trying to what's a good she's secondary support, but also is supposed to be crowd control. So it's like trying to balance that out, but also making sure it matches with who she is.
The theme, yeah.
Yeah. But I definitely think if I think counterspell first things that happens because no.
And then
I was
me and
there
Jared
a couple times in the Mortar fight going, man, I wish I had counterspell.
Yeah, that'll be cool. And then me and Jared are getting some control spells, so we're really going to be
Nice.
We've already been discussing
hurting James.
we have
some
some kingdom
options.
flavor on some of these control spells that we're gonna have.
Yeah,
I get Misty Step.
that's awesome.
Misty Step is fun.
So
it's one of the best spells, hands down. It just is for anybody. Misty
the
Step.
feat I took is reliant on Misty Step for right or for wrong, probably. But just
Yeah.
it also gave me, I think, a dex boost. But
That's cool.
yeah, so when I Misty Step, I get advantage. So like most of my builds are like like trying to give myself advantage and boons to my attacks now. So
Yeah.
actually,
What else do
check
you
is-
get at 5th level with Trenny? Do you get, because you get your new spells, but is there any other cleric features? I can't remember. Or with Twilight, do you get extra attack?
No, Twilight
Okay.
doesn't get anything till 6.
Okay.
Divine Strike doesn't come in yet. No, it's just the 5th levels. Oh wait, as a cleric in general, I get the Destroy Undead.
Ooh.
Oh, your thing levels up. Your
Yeah,
Turn undead.
yeah.
I didn't get 6th level though as a Twilight cleric. That's when I get the flying thing. Like if I'm in dim light, I get to fly for a period of time. So
Really?
that'll be fun.
Ooh.
Jesus, they give Twilight so. Yeah, I'm getting flying too.
So not only will you fly, you'll have this flying center of healing. You're like a shooting star just flying around. Because the sanctuary it's centered on you, isn't it? For 30-foot radius. Insanity. Listen, I'm not complaining. It's probably the only reason the three of us are still alive in some cases.
Yeah, that
Me
fight
too.
would have been very different. Yeah.
I had like 5 hit points by the end. I didn't realize how low my hit points were at the end of that. If it weren't for the buffer, I would have been down because I was at like 5 hit points for most of that. The last like 5 rounds of that battle.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
when was the water, like what round? Do you guys remember what round the
It's
water
gotta been
thing
like
happened?
8, 9, 10. It was like late,
Be
Was
10 or
that
11.
right?
early end, like mid to end.
Okay.
And
Still,
after the
'cause,
water
like, it-
pushed us,
Yeah,
in the,
because if the turret would have died, if that, I pretty much hit with that turret every round after that.
Mhm.
So if
The
if
one
that
time when
turret
you
had-
get.
yeah, except for the one time. But if that turret had gone down, like that moss would be alive. That would have been really bad. Like that would have gone very differently.
I like to imagine the other turret is still slowly
Down
limping its
there.
way
It
towards.
1000%. That
Like,
turret is actually the
technically-
big bad. It's actually the big bad.
Technically, when you use a new turret, the other one goes away. But I do like to imagine that turret's now like basically free of my control, and is off, and it's gonna come back like like when a character comes back in like sci-fi, like all grizzled, like they've been like
Yeah.
working in like a pirate base, and they come back with like an eye patch and like cool leathers. Like that's how I picture that turret. He's gonna come back with like scars and an eye patch and like wearing leather pants somehow. Like he'll come back and be like an enemy. He'd be like, "You abandoned me, father," and be like a total thorn in our side. That's what I imagine. So
Or we just, when we escape this tomb, it's just a pile of bodies, and then the old turret just sitting on top, like just just in its last moment from just destroying whatever else tried to come at the temple.
that's true. Yeah, there was like all these other reinforcements that we didn't even know about.
Well, actually, we'll do a one shot where the turret's the main character, and then we all just play supporting characters to the turret. Like a. Yeah, so we've got some wrapping up to do. We've got to get out of the tomb, maybe meet up with Ren, maybe
Get this
meet up
baby
with
back?
Give the baby. Oh yeah, there's a baby.
Going back to town is going to be the biggest.
Yeah.
First role playing, like all the different factions are there, and be like, what? I mean, not the Fae, but the other two, like the town, and then also the army. And I have no idea how James is planning to let that be okay with us. I guess you did your job, and
That's
then
what I'm
there's
hoping.
going
If
to
we take back evidence, we might get some
Yeah.
leeway.
and that we did this, so we're allowed to go off to the Feywild because like I need downtime to do stuff. I definitely want to get some. Like I said, I need more reagents for my familiar. I definitely want some better armor because we really haven't had a chance to like upgrade anything from. I think we all need, except for Esmeralda, we pretty much all need better armor. I think.
I
Right?
can't have armor.
Yeah, you can't wear armor, so but everybody else, I think we all need to upgrade.
Yeah.
for sure. So
Well, we haven't really looted a lot this campaign.
no,
so
we haven't looked at anything because it's not really that. It's not really.
We've
for
got
that, right.
the hag layer, right? We got the hag layer, the tomb that you were eyeballing on the way down. But maybe we would go back and take a little once-y look-see over.
Maybe, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to shake out.
We are going to spend some time. The last thing I said before we left was I want to investigate her thing, not to
Mhm.
loot, but just to find clues. Like that was my main thing, is to find
Sure.
clues. But maybe there's like a magic item in there. I mean, probably, right? We'll see.
There's got to be like, and if it's something for a hag, at least Tisme can probably wield it in
I mean,
some
for
way, shape, or form.
Tisme,
Potentially.
maybe some rituals. I got something in my eye, I think, right now. There's some rituals, maybe.
You know what? If you guys want to keep the birds, I'm just going to keep the baby. So Quinn's going to be a dad now for the rest of the campaign.
Did we
The
do that
baby's
whole
parents
battle
are alive.
theoretically with eggs strapped to our chest?
Oh yeah, 100%. I have 3 eggs, and then I think. Wait, who has? I have
You have
3 eggs.
2.
I
Someone
have
has
2
2.
eggs, and then each
I
of you have 1.
Yeah.
I have 0. I have no
Yeah.
eggs.
Oh my god, I
refuse.
forgot about that.
Yeah.
Those are
Quinn
trapped to
refused.
us.
I forget that all this stuff is happening while we still have the eggs strapped to us.
Literally
never
goes
took
to
those
like
off.
goes to I must be bleeding, and it's just yolk, from the egg
Oh.
that's smashed.
Oh
man.
my
Looking forward to
God.
the egg.
It's a magical item. I guess it's fine. I don't fucking know. James had to be kicking himself. I just gave these people 4 small creatures that they're gonna have to keep.
He wasn't expecting. I was like, how many eggs? There was 4. I mean, because remember, he was like, oh, there was 4 eggs, James. He was like, yeah, why? Oh,
Well, we're
I
keeping
make
them.
little. Yeah, I make little baby Bjorns for everybody to wear, and we're definitely carrying those eggs around.
Oh my god. So in theory, tomorrow should be the last of the first arc, and then we, depending on what happens, will be some sort of downtime, and then we start to probably take a break. I believe we're gonna take a week off, maybe 2. I'm not sure, and then
We'll see.
we'll be back for the second round. That's the plan.
See?
Yeah.
Well, and we're at time. We can keep chatting. I think this is the first time all 4 of us have gotten on at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah.
So that's exciting,
Yeah.
We can just bash James and he can't do anything about it.
But let's remember he throws the monsters at us
There's no
later on.
combat next session.
Yep.
It's over. We did it.
Heap praises on us.
We did it.
We won. Yeah, we won.
Yeah.
Remember, there's still that one little freaky fae that's hanging out in that stairwell. So let's stop.
There's
3.
2. There's the
3.
flute dude. There's the puppeteer.
The
Who's still
Raven
out
got
there?
away too, didn't it?
Who?
No, we killed that.
We killed the Raven.
I think we killed the raven.
I'm pretty
I'm
sure we killed the
almost certain,
Raven.
almost everyone got away. Maybe we get to kill the Raven.
Did we kill Kokomori?
No,
I
we
thought
did
we
kill the
did.
birds. Yeah, we killed the
Yeah.
birds.
Okay.
There's definitely the flute dude and puppet
Yeah.
dude.
And the
Yeah.
puppet
Still
dude.
around.
I thought there was one more. Maybe I was thinking the Boblin, but we
Yeah.
got him.
The
Maybe I
Boblin.
swear to God, I thought there was
You
another
The
killed
one.
the
Shadow
other
guy from
guy.
the River King we killed.
Yeah, you murdered him. That was straight murder. That was
murder
straight.
is a harsh word.
He was
We're
like,
assaulted.
okay, I'll go back and tell everybody. We're okay.
the
No
messenger.
fight. It's in the back.
Yeah, okay.
Just straight murder. That was
It's
straight.
been a rough 4 days for Quinn. However long it's been.
It really has.
It's
Very
been, like,
unfortunate.
It's been a rough 4 days for all of us.
Yeah.
Actually,
I have
not.
to-
Actually, you know what? For Bisbo, this is the best time of his life. Honestly, I think.
He's having a
Like
good time.
legit.
Yeah.
I think he's had some good times with Drake. But this just overall, just straight days, just complete freedom, friendship bracelets. This is probably the best time.
Freedom and friendship bracelet.
Esmeralda, are you excited to? Are you heading back to the Fae? Is your mission complete? Why are you even in the material plane? What the hell are you even doing?
We can get into that. She's explained it a couple times, but I don't think
I
Quinn
think we covered this.
Yeah,
we've covered it.
a couple
Okay.
times.
Quinn doesn't listen. That's why.
Quinn doesn't
Quinn doesn't listen as Ezra starts talking, and Quinn just starts thinking of things he needs to get done.
Yeah. And
Elevator
Jared drinks behind the scenes too much, probably too, for his own memory. So
It's all about the Shadow Fae. It's all about the Shadow Fae invading.
yeah.
That, and I'm really excited if we do go into the Feywild, because the Fey chords are going to be so fun, and I'm here for it. This is what I designed it for. Let's go.
Well, don't worry. You've got your 3 best friends who will only do nothing but elevate
Four.
your standing.
Only problems.
Talking about
Okay.
what's the
Yeah, Godwin.
Godwin. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. 3.5 best friends.
He's her personal tailor and makeup artist now. I mean,
That's
right?
true.
That's established.
The Fae is gonna love the mechanical whirlings of Godwin.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
At the very least, he's a curiosity.
Yeah,
He's like, yeah,
So.
Bisbo is definitely a curiosity, and Godwin.
we're going to have to see how that goes. But for now, it is facing the kingdom, and let's see how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually
Yeah.
I'm kind of a bit horrified about that.
Because the village, like, we brought the baby back. Okay, we're heroes.
To the
You
But
know,
you
like,
two
the
went
village is fine.
AWOL.
Yeah.
The village is fine. Yeah, we went totally AWOL.
So-
I mean, Quinn at least, we know Quinn already has some more, he's an elf, whatever, he's a human. He has more independent as his role, and he's been leaving notes, like, out of character, right, behind.
Mhm.
But, like,
Yeah.
Bisbo kobolds are, like, the third rate, like, they are the bottom of the barrel. They have hardly any rights. And, you know, he like, so he's real. I think Bisbo is the one that's in really could possibly be big trouble.
Maybe we can take back an artifact of magic,
Yeah.
right? Because isn't that why we're here for magic?
Yes.
So we need to spend next session maybe trying to find something, even if it's a bit of a red herring.
We are. I already said we were looking. I'm fully investigating the tomb.
Yeah. Maybe we can find something as a bit of, if we can find something that's just enough of like a peace offering to the lieutenant. I think we get past the sergeant. The sergeant's he's a prick. I think
Yeah.
we kind of.
And we're bringing back the baby, and like you said, you're gonna bring back the heads. I guess
the heads of like some creepy fakery. So if we can bring something else that's magical, we give him the potion. Let him get plus 20 strength and dexterity for.
I don't think it'll work. I think it only works for.
Oh yeah, for Tismay.
I think it was situational.
Tismay.
I'll chop his
Tismay,
finger
you
off.
definitely don't want to give
Sir?
that. You definitely
Sir?
want to give the potion to anybody else. By the way,
No.
You don't want to give, like, hair is bad enough or something, or like nails, but like your finger and magical essence. I don't think that you want that around.
I think you take a good old alchemical check and you see how long one thing is good for, and you got your own nuclear option. Go by end of next session. Everyone has their own nuclear option that they carry around with them at all times.
Yeah.
I'll empty
And
my
then-
water skin and just fill it with that stuff, just in case something goes bad in a battle. I'll just down it and Hulk out.
Ooh. Okay. Well, that's something.
Yeah.
I will. That would be funny though.
Full rage. Just.
I just know you'd forget it's in that water skin and drink it one day and it'd just be like.
Oh,
at the
for
middle of a
sure.
bar.
100%. Both
I'm so
player and
thirsty.
character would forget.
Yeah, right. Oh goodness.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't want to. I'll keep you guys any longer. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will sort out the end of this first arc. I think on Monday.
Yeah.
So.
Mhm.
And
Should be
level five-
intense. I think it'll almost be just as intense as the whole hag thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least for me and you, like.
Jared legit is kind of stressing about having to RP that portion of like
Yeah.
navigating it because we just don't know.
And I have to rely on you almost completely, Jared. Like Bisbo has to rely on Quinn almost completely.
When
so.
Quinn doesn't have anything to say, feel free to step in because there's probably gonna be moments where
I don't think he can, man. Like I said, these really have no rights, so it's really going to be on Quinn. I
thanks,
feel.
thanks a lot. Thanks
Yeah.
a lot.
On you, buddy.
All right. Oh well. In the meantime, you all have a fine weekend. Do your level 5 homework. Tismay.
Yep, that's me. Yep.
And we'll see you guys fresh and ready to wrap up on Monday. 8
Yeah.
o'clock 8:30 p.m. That's what we pushed it back to, right? 8:30 p.m. CST. Excuse me. Awesome. All right. Well, see you on the other side.
Bye bye.
Run wild, run free. We need a saying.
Oh, run
We
wild,
need a-
run free. I'm fading us out.
Okay, it's run wild, run free.